A channeling of the grace in which I asked them to give a more complete outline of the history of their interaction with our timeline. Greetings, Earthlings, returning to you with this funny perspective on how we used to interact with humankind. Yes, you may know us as the Standard Gray Aliens. We have also been called the Zeta Reticuli, though this is a sort of misgiving as we are connected to the energy of this particular constellation only through the fact that we seem alien to you and that this constellation has an energy very similar to your own sun, and thus our vibration is very similar to yours. Realize that for millennia humankind have seen flying objects, flying saucers, and unidentified flying objects, but few of them have belonged to our race. We have been asked to further outline our interaction with the human race in relation to your sense of your own historical timeline and when we started to appear in it. And we would say so much as that the various sightings reported in earlier literature from your modern, early modern era, or perhaps even earlier from some medieval sightings, were never us. We were not able is perhaps not the word, but we were uninterested in interacting with humankind at this point because you had nothing in particular to offer us, and that we knew that our vibration would be too foreign for yours to interact with. What became really interesting to us was the period preceding your First World War, and in particular the period during and after your Second World War, in which humankind changed its views of itself and its technological capabilities, and its able to technologically redesign itself, that its vibration became so much in harmony with us that we, with our technical apparatuses, were able to shift into your timeline using what you may understand as a sort of teleportation device, not unlike what was used in your Philadelphia project, which we also participated in with one of your very first and early projects that we engaged in with the US military. We have ever since been engaged in many more, though the nature of this interaction has been more complex than you outline it as, and know that we are at least as you may say shifty as you humans, even the government engaged types of your kind. We were perfectly able to know what we were doing, and to know that we were supplying the proper information and technology at the right points in time, and we were also using humans for our own purposes, but do not see this as anything malign or unpleasant. We were simply doing what we could to explore and survive, as just as you would. Realize that you, as you may know, we do come from a different timeline, but we are very much connected to this timeline, and that is why we were able to make this sort of jump back in time, as you may view it, though that is not really what took place. It is because once you started on your say projects of mass warfare and technological advancement, in which humankind became more of a sort of appliance to work its technological apparatus, that we saw a great opportunity to go back and learn from our own mistakes at this early vantage point where nothing had gone so wrong that it could not be corrected, and also take the DNA that was intact but still was in harmony with our own kind and use it to improve and create the hybrid races and the hybrid program, which turned out very effectively and has been used then to alter this timeline into more positive things and avoid another repetition of our own timeline that ended in a sort of unfruitful Earth fully colonized by machines. We were not happy with this universe in the first place, and the paradox was when we separated ourselves up from emotion, we also tended to separate ourselves up from sexuality, and then we became sterile because we had no pleasure in doing anything much more, and so we became very much mechanical, self-sustaining, only exploring the dimensions of complexity through diffusion and division and dividing the world into further and further and further small particles and manipulating these particles and separating them and putting them into new systems of order that are unsustainable. This was a grave mistake we realized once we realized that we were unable to then harvest the bare minimum of immediate energy from the life source you have previously known as God, and then we had to use this separative technology to sort of create a rift in between our timelines. Once the vibrational alignment arose, we could detect with our scanners, and at that point we used the opportunity to shift into that timeline, and there were a great many deal of accidents. See, unlike many more advanced higher dimensional beings, we were not ourselves able to, in that sense, make our material manifestations switch on and off, varying on our mental dispositions. We were instead forced to use our spacecraft to shift ourselves totally and entirely into a timeline, and that is why you have experienced a few crashes with us. There were more. This project was very important to us, so we kept up, even though it was at a great cost to us, both in concern to resources and in concern to the lives of our fellow beings. Many gave their lives to complete this process. However, it was successful, and we managed to jump in to different places, particularly in the early 30s and the 40s. And in the 50s and 60s and 70s, we got better until we had, to a great extent, harvested the material we needed, and then we started interacting with people in some of these higher dimensional frames that we had established in our symbiotic connections with people and with the assistance of the hybrid races set forth on different timelines. We are now trying to explain the channel how this notion of timelines doesn't just multiply infinitely, and of course it does in a perspective, seeing that any individual holds an infinity of reality tunnels that they are filtering through their being. And so it does, but some of them are more let us say crystallized or set in matter than others, and this makes them easier to somehow tangibly interact with, and that was why we have been and still are able to physically manifest on this timeline too. It is because it is not a say not only a timeline of potential energies, but it is a timeline of consequential energies, which you may experience as a solid state timeline. This is the kind of timeline you are on, and this is the kind of timeline in which we are explaining to the channel our historical interaction with humankind in the past century or so. It has been rather short, and therefore it is sort of amusing to us that we are the quintessential aliens of your popular culture, because it is to us very silly, because we were very new and we are very far from alien compared to some of the other races interacting with you. We are very much a mirror for humanity, and we have chosen to show you both our benevolent and our, let us say, more demonic nature, to also be able to learn from yourselves and to be able to more clearly perceive which type of attitude you wish to cultivate to the notion of alien contact, because we are so close to you and yet we are so very foreign, and we do not speak to, let's say, the cuddly or cute sensations of the human sensorium. We are not pleasing in that sense, but we are calling to you from our higher instincts with telepathic order that we would like to show you the way to a better and more loving and more integrative timeline. And in that sense, our work is still to collect samples from humanity, from the ever expanding sense of it, but we do not do it in any manual or infringing sort. We are now able to interact with you through these more multidimensional levels and copy information from there and use these copyings to further our projects. And the Satyrs have, along with the hybrid project, also been able to progenate themselves onto a different timeline, a separate timeline, where the hybrid program is going on with a great deal of love and comparison, and we are at present showing the channel the multitude of beings and creatures participating in this very joyous project, and enjoying how much humankind has unfolded from this very wonderful endeavor into fantasy and genetics and experimentation and expanding of the creative universes. We are also on a solid state timeline, and in that sense, we are very real to you, as you may understand. But you are at present not able to shift to that timeline with anything but your astral bodies. However, those of you that are able to do that, you are most welcome to check into us anytime, and we are happy to clear up any misunderstandings. And should you have questions on any further happenings or instances, we are most willing and able and helpful in our endeavor to answer these questions. That is what we wish to say to you at this point, human beings. May you be well. We love you very much, and we have also learned to love ourselves through you. So we thank you for that, and we wish you all the best. And you are willing to find out what is going on with yourself and the universe, and we are proud of that, and we are very proud of our own part in this wonderful project called humankind, and we wish that you may fully awaken to the fact of the miracle that is taking place within your being in every instant of your continued experience. And so we offer you this, and we wish you to be well on this day. Be well, sweet human. Bye bye. Bye for now.